And let's get Facebook in here. We can start the show. Rocking and rolling. Got the wheels spinning. 1 and 2. All right. Welcome in. It is Tuesday evening. It's the 3rd of February, man. Bummer. We're coming at you here the Super Bowl week. It should have been the Broncos. The Broncos all interviewing this week kind of feel the same, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. The results are the results. No crying in football. So I'm Nick. This is Carl. This is Building the Broncos. We're obviously here. It is, unfortunately, it has been our favorite time of year for the Broncos, but not recently. The games have been more enjoyable as of late versus the team building aspect. But God, we still love the team building aspect. Carl, how are you doing? How's the weather been? We had a real turn in the weather today in Denver. It was like really reaching 60s, sunny this weekend, and then today I was walking the kid back, windy, probably pushing about 35, and it started hailing on us. So, the Colorado weather, I guess, huh? That's kind of how it is. I know that everybody out here is freaking out for some snow. I don't know if you've seen pictures of like the ski resorts in Utah and whatnot. Not good. Hopefully not a bad thing for the summer, but of course we have to open up with weather, as is tradition.
It's been nice. It's been not as nice as what they predicted it would be. It's been a little bit more cloudy. This weekend we went to see my oldest son, and we ran into some snow and really bad weather. But I don't know. We've been able to be outside, take the dog out, have a little fun with that. So I can't complain too much, especially, beginning of February. I should be expecting lots of snow, 20, 30-degree weather, not being able to be outside. So the fact that I could be outside with a jacket, I'll take it right now.
Nice. Yeah, that's I really needed to be nicer again. I need to really get back into the workout routine. It's really hard with full-time job and football stuff and parenthood and social life and everything.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna have to start waking up at 4:30 a.m. to get in a workout in before the live streams in the morning. So just is what it is. But I have been going on a nice hour-long dog walk every evening with my I got a weight vest for Christmas. So it does make me look a little menacing because it's kind of a tactical vest. So like somebody sees somebody walking around the streets, like, is he wearing body armor? Like, what the heck's going on? So yeah, that's the golden retriever kind of gives it away that I'm probably not dangerous. But it's
you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Carl's trying to do a Pacific Northwest backpacking trip without me, chat. Very hurt. Very hurt. I think I must have scared him or teased him too much last time. Or maybe sharing the tent was a little too intimate. But we didn't have to go too far into just nothing happened other than Carl snoring. Really excited for that. Excited for summer to get here. But first, before we get into it, Carl, Broncos players are asked about the Super Bowl score today. What are you thinking? Let's get it out there. With Seahawks, Patriots, who's victorious and what's the score?
I'm going to say Seahawks are victorious. I think the Patriots are a little bit of the path that they took to get to the Super Bowl. They got a little bit lucky. I mean, not that they were a good team. I'm not trying to take that away from them, but you have a quarterback that throws 5 picks in a game. You've got Chargers who are the walking wounded in their game. Broncos lose their starting quarterback. I mean, Patriot fans that are like joking with the Broncos because Sutton said we should have been there today. Let's say they lose Drake May. Do they win that game with Josh Dobbs and we have Bo Nix? No, they don't win that game. So it's a little bit frustrating right now. And I understand, I think it was Patrick Surtain was like 44-6 will be the final score. Something like, I mean, it was ridiculous for Seattle beating the Patriots. They did not have any kind of respect for the Patriots going into this game. And I do think the Seahawks have a more well-rounded team. Now Drake May could take over and look more like he did during the regular season, and that maybe balances it out. But Seahawks with that defense, that's a special defense. They don't get talked about enough for how good they are.
No.
And then you throw in good running game. Sam Darnold can go out there and win. You maybe have the best wide receiver in football. There's a lot of things going for Seattle in this one.
I mean, we talked about it on here a lot. The Broncos defense dipped some at the end. I mean, obviously not at the very end. They were great in the playoff game that they lost. But the Seahawks and the Texans were the other two dominant defenses. And the Seahawks, as good as the Broncos were on the defensive line, Seahawks might take them just because of the talent they have on the interior, and they're deeper than the Broncos are on the defensive line as well. So I think you look at any of the advanced stats, their run defense was like far and away the best in the NFL this season. And they also were missing a good amount of guys in the back seven rotating with injury and stuff. We're missing a Witherspoon for a lot of the season. So I have the Seahawks winning this one 30-10. I think that it's going to be not very close. I think the defense is going to make Drake May's life a living you-know-what, and they'll take away the run. And they're too talented up front. I think said it well before the playoffs, but I think NFC Championship is probably more the Super Bowl. I'm glad nobody dug that up if the Broncos were going there, because make me look bad. But maybe that'll still make me look bad. But I think the Seahawks are immensely more talented. And shout out to the Patriots. I mean, they still had to win the games in front of them to do it. But I think the Seahawks specifically are just way too talented along the defensive line and are not as injured as the Broncos were, obviously, in that game.
Yeah. I haven't. I'll go 27-13. Seahawks win in that game.
Yeah.
And, I know some people point to Sam Darnold has had big game meltdowns. I don't think he even has to have a good game for them to win. I think they can do a lot like they did in the playoffs of really lean into that run game and allow that to be what controls the pace. And then, like I said, that defense take over. So good for the Patriots to make it, I guess. I mean, good for them. They did have to win three playoff games to get there. But the Broncos, man, should have been there. Now, whether they would have won against Seahawks, it would have been tough. I mean, the Seahawks, there's a reason they had best record in football, number 1 seed, so many things going for them. So, I mean, they are a really good team. They deserve to be there. And I'll be cheering for them. Yeah. I always said I'd never cheer for the Seahawks after what they did to us in the Super Bowl. But they found the one team that they could play that I'd be like, crap, now I got to cheer for the Seahawks.
I mean, I'd cheer for them against the Chiefs as
That's
well.
True. Yeah,
of course. And also the Raiders, although Raiders in the Super Bowl.
That's
hilarious. We can end the show. That was good enough for me. No, we got to say hello to some super chats and do some ad reads. We got Papa Bear coming in, $2 super chat. Good evening, Broncos country. We also got Shannon Mills coming in here. Love that. I always say my son's name is Mills, so near and dear to my heart. Good to see you, Shannon. $49.99. My God, so freaking generous. Appreciate you. She says, good evening. Would love to see McMillan and JFM say Broncos. Singleton's a good leader, so I see that as a reason for him staying, even though his production has been off. I think the Super Bowl will be a blowout too. Well, for $49.99, I'm not going to disagree with anything you have to say. But it'd be great to keep those ones. And thank you for addressing the prompt today. We're going to go through these Broncos pending free agents. They do have restricted free agents, and more times than not, it takes a pretty unique circumstance not to bring back a restricted free agent. So the question, I think, isn't should they stay or should they go for these RFAs, but going to be what does the tender look like that they're going to place on the restricted. So we'll get into that. But thank you so freaking much for the $49.99 super chat. And if you have a little, $49.99 burning a hole in your pocket with the Super Bowl coming up, maybe you want to check out our friends over at Underdog Fantasy.
Yeah, for sure. Broncos country. Denver didn't make it to football's biggest game, but the Super Bowl is right around the corner. You can get in on all the action with Underdog. Not on Underdog yet? Then you're in luck because new customers score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you make your first $5 fantasy entry.
Exactly. Playing an Underdog is so easy. Just pick whether players will go higher or lower on stats such as rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and much more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. Plus, there are new promos dropping daily in the app. So if you like making picks and winning money, then Underdog is the place to be for the big game.
Yeah, guys, I've had so much fun on Underdog, and winning money while watching football, that's a touchdown, Broncos country. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code MHuddle to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code MHuddle. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next?
Be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Heck yeah. Shout out to Underdog. Let's say hello to folks in the chat. We got William coming in. I feel like they should let Singleton go, but I think they might bring him back. And he says we might need to get so much better at that spot. Talking about linebacker. Nothing against him. Love that dude. We're just getting older and slower. Yeah, Greenlaw didn't look to have the same explosiveness, I guess, this season, and maybe he'll never get that back. He'll be a year further from that injury this offseason. His contract is movable. It'd be hard, but it is movable. So I'm expecting Greenlaw back another year. And linebacker is one of the three, like, no duh, you have to bring in somebody that could be bring back, but bring in somebody. So we got Chase coming in here too. I'm sad the season's all is about over, but I enjoy your off-season content. Off-season's a lot of fun. Get to talk about the draft, get to talk about free agency, and we are kind of in the somewhat of a luxury building phase. I mean, the stakes are high, right? You made the AFC Championship game, and anything less than that now is going to be a letdown. But, I mean, we've talked about it on here, running back, wide tight end, linebacker. If you fill those three, you can go a lot of different directions with this team. And the big thing is going to be finding a defining offensive weapon that you can build game plans around. But, I mean, really, you got a lot of directions if you can fill those three spots. And with the picks the Broncos have and the cap that they have at three non-premium positions, they should have avenues to fill those. So it's a pretty luxurious spot for the Broncos to be this offseason. Very enviable. What do you think, Carl?
Yeah, I think it won't take much for the Broncos to be even better. And you think about the fact that they were 3 points away from being, 4 points, I guess, to win the game, away from being in the Super Bowl. And really you can put a lot of that on just losing your quarterback. Any team loses your quarterback in the AFC Championship game, the odds are going to be very much that no team's going to win that game.
Yeah.
And the fact the Broncos kept it that close says a lot about that whole entire roster. It's like I said, that there's some positions Broncos can really improve at: tight end, running back. I think you can improve at wide receiver. I'm torn on that, because to me, if you're going to improve at wide receiver, you got to improve at the number one spot and move Sutton to number two.
Right. I think you could improve it too. It just has to be it has to be a top 40 level wide receiver in the least.
Yeah. Yeah. I just my fear would be to find another Franklin, Mims, Bryant kind of guy. You don't need that. Right. Yeah. Right. They're not a number two. So you're right. Okay. You could improve at number two. I would lean into trying to find somebody that moves Sutton to number two, because that would be great.
Yes.
And I think PFF was trying to say Broncos should go after George Pickens. I'm not really much for that. He's one of those guys I'm worried maybe for a year or two he could do a lot of good for you. But beyond that, I think it would be tough, because I think he's going to become that locker room cancer where other players could be looking at him going, why does this guy get to miss meetings? Why is he being paid $40 million a year and gets to miss curfew? And if I'm paying $40 million a year for a player, I want them to be a leader in that locker room that people can look up to. So maybe not quite that level of guy.
Yeah. I will say to that point, I'm with you. I don't know if I'd throw out the C word with him. Totally. I think there's an immaturity, no doubt. The one thing I come back to, though, is that if you're good, they will put up with a lot as long as you're not a felon. And Sean Payton dealt with a issue me player in New Orleans in Michael Thomas. And there was reports that he was outspoken in the locker room and in practices, despite being by far the heaviest, most targeted player in football, having issues in practice with coaches and players. So again, not really somebody I want to pull for necessarily, but damn, he is freaking talented. And you are in a window right now, and there's just only so many avenues. So we'll see what's going on here. Maybe Cortland Sutton, being such an upstanding citizen, could balance some of that out. I don't know. Do have a lot more people in here want to say hello to. Good to see Denver Luke in the house. Howdy. I love howdy. One of my favorite words. I open almost all my emails with howdy. Roy Osborne, good evening, Nick and Carl. Can't forget Scott. Yeah, Scott's here. Of course, we got Daniel Berry in the house. Happy Tuesday. I always love Clayton because he comes with, hey, guys, and then immediately smash that like button and share. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. We got Miller Time coming in here. What's up, Broncos fam? Hope all is well. Nick and Carl, thank you for all you do. Go Broncos. Well, we wouldn't be here without comments like this. So, I mean, we might be. We might just be, shooting the you-know-what. But it's more fun with you guys, no doubt. So, appreciate you coming in and saying hello and all the good tidings. Speaking of old friends, we got Paul in the house as well. You're the real OG, Paul. Hope you're doing well. Hope your health is okay. Jason comes in and says, what wouldn't have affected the Broncos? We couldn't run the ball anyway. I mean, if you had Dobbins in there, you kind of had a little proof of concept that you were able to run the football with him in there. So I think that's kind of talking about the Broncos potentially beating the Patriots. But Jason comes to a point we talked about last week, Carl, and it's something that Payton harped on as well this offseason. Number one point was frustration with the wide receivers' catching technique. Wide receiver coach is gone. But then he emphasized multiple times frustration with the run game in general. So both football is like the ultimate interconnected sport, right? Like if you add a number one wide receiver, that might impact your run game efficiency as much as anything else because it's dictating box count and coverage and personnel. But just everything's interdependent. But the Broncos got to figure out a way to run the freaking football. And Carl, I'm going to tee this one up to you. From Saints fan coming in here said, can you guys please answer why Broncos fans and media disrespect Sean Payton? You guys had a top 10 offense and were a Bo Nix injury away from being in the Super Bowl. I have an answer for this, but I want to hear what you have to say first, Carl.
I would say a couple things. One, Sean Payton says things that will rub people the wrong way. And I think sometimes he thinks he's being funny where others find it insulting. I think of when he attacked he didn't attack, but I mean, like he made a comment towards, I think it was a Denver Post media person, and national media like caught onto it. Like, I can't believe he talked this way of, saying that you're too small to have ever played linebacker, those kind of things. And then that local media guy came out and was like, we were joking about it after the press conference. Like they are maybe not friends, but they at least respect each other. And so I think that's where some people don't get all the context of everything that Sean Payton's saying and doing and the relationships that he has with different people. And I do think that there are times where he does get frustrated with media because they don't understand the big picture of everything that he's doing. And so then they make these little comments or these questions that he's like, that's a stupid question. Why are you asking this question? It either makes no sense or it's so obvious nobody needs to ask this question. And so I think he's one of those people, he doesn't feel like he has time for dumb people.
Yeah.
And if he deems you to be that, he won't give you the time of day.
Sean is a egomaniacal a-hole sometimes to media, and he's smart and he's going to let you know that he's smarter than you a lot of times, even if he's right. People don't like that. And he will publicly do that as well. So there are people that he has rubbed the wrong way, and because of that, they don't like him. And because of that, we kind of saw it with Bill Belichick. Yeah, Bill Belichick too. I think Sean Payton's a Hall of Fame caliber head coach. I don't know if he's going to get in the first ballot because he's not always the nicest to the media. He has favorites. So makes it a little tough as well. But as far as like people disrespecting his play calling, I don't know. I don't know if Denver was top 10 offensively this year. I prefer like advanced metrics, DVOA, EPA, WPA even, but they were top 14 and they had obviously some issues. And they also weren't given the ball in advantageous positions very often because they couldn't take the freaking ball away. So overall, I mean, Sean Payton is one of the, like if there was a redraft of all the head coaches in the NFL right now, Sean Payton is probably going, God, I have to like go through the Rolodex through my head, Carl. There might be only two head coaches I definitively would take over Sean Payton. Am I crazy for saying that? Maybe three. I just think Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are so freaking good offensively that like I would probably still take them over Sean Payton. They're also younger. And then after that, it's like the Andy Reid, Sean Payton discussion.
Yeah, I mean, you probably – well, it's kind of hard because Andy Reid obviously didn't do any – I mean, he did a lot before he got Patrick Mahomes, but he never won a Super Bowl without Mahomes.
consistently pretty damn good though with Philly.
He was. And I mean, making the playoffs almost every year, quarterbacks playing at very high levels, whoever the quarterback was, Alex Smith, Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick at one point. So I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but you're right. I think I'd probably put him right around that kind of conversation. It's tough because you got so many other young coaches now. McDonald with Seahawks, what's he going to be moving forward? You might start thinking about trying to take him. But there again, I think part of it is he's just done a great job getting Kubiak as his offensive guy. What's going to happen next year when Kubiak's not there? Now that he's moving on, I'm interested to see if their offense continues to play at the level that they're playing at. I'm trying to think who else that would be out there.
Tomlin's gone. Harbaugh went over to the Giants, but he's kind of been in and out here as of late.
Yeah.
I mean, you also got Jim Harbaugh, but I'd rather have Sean Payton, although I do respect Jim. I know he's kooky, but also he got hit by a mail truck in Iowa City, so I got to give him a little bit of slack as a kid on his bike. But we got George Fox coming in here. Says, thanks for your invite to the team and your outlook on players and free agent that might help the team. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Denver Broncos' own free agents here. We got to start getting to that. Thank you so much for the super chat and the support, George. Hope you're doing well. We got to talk now about our friends over at Cozy Earth.
Yeah, Broncos country, Valentine's Day is almost here. How will you show yourself and those around you a little extra love? Whether it's for someone special or just for yourself, Cozy Earth makes it easy to bring comfort and care into your everyday life. This Valentine's Day season, we are offering a BOGO pajama deal you won't see any other time of the year.
Guys, check out the bamboo pajama set. It's classic Cozy Earth favorite, and it's the sleepwear upgrade that'll make you look forward to slipping into bed at night even more. Lightweight yet cozy, this soft pajama set helps you fall asleep faster and stay comfortable longer. Designed to drape beautifully and sleep cooler than cotton, it helps your temperature regulate just right without overheating. It makes for a great night's sleep.
Try them out. If you don't love them, return them hassle-free, but trust me, you won't want to. Cozy Earth offers customers a 100-night sleep trial as well as a 10-year warranty because once you feel this level of comfort, you'll want it to last a decade.
These viral PJs are so good, they sold out during the holidays, and now they're back with an exclusive deal only available January 25th to February 8th, so time's running out. Head to CozyEarth.com and use our code HuddleBOGO to buy one, get one free. Get these PJs for you and someone you love. And if you get a post-purchase survey, be sure to mention you heard about Cozy Earth right here at MHH. Celebrate everyday love with comfort that makes the little moments count. Moving on here. More folks say hello to Phil. Good evening, Nick, Carl, and Deacon Scott. You had a choice between Peter Woods, Sunny Styles, or Kedu Lamu. Who are you taking? BPA. I like position of value. You listed two guys who are higher position of value. Sunny Styles is a special linebacker prospect who's going to be going top 10. He's giant. He moves like a safety, and he is violent. I'm probably going Sunny Styles here.
I was going to say that. There's no way he's making it close enough for the Broncos to even trade up to get him. So
I wouldn't trade up for a linebacker.
Yeah, it's true. I wouldn't either. I mean, if we're talking like maybe a third round pick to get a top 10 level talent,
30 to like 27, that's what it would be.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. But there, like you said, there's no way unless he bombs all of his interviews, gets arrested the day before, has a video with him doing something he shouldn't be doing the day of the draft. There's no way he's making it to 30.
It doesn't sound like he's that kind of guy either, from what I've heard. So, man, he's not linebackers don't go top 10 very often, and this is a down class at the top, but he's actually one of the few. I think he'll be probably a consensus first round grade for probably 28 of the 32 teams, maybe all of them. Excuse me. But thank you so much, Phil. Good question. Any of them would be good. All of them probably gone. We'll see. I've seen Peter Woods mock the Broncos a few times. He'd be great, as would Lomu. We got Glenn coming in from down under. Nick, I know you love the trenches. Who do you like for us to draft round 3 to 6 as a Powers replacement? I genuinely hope we cut him post June 30th. Austin Barber, Kalen Rutledge, Connor Lew are 3 I like so far. I really like Kalen Rutledge. He was really good. I'm pretty interested in Feynman, the Northwestern cat who played tackle, but I think he's going to kick inside, and the Duke left tackle who's going to kick inside as well. But yeah, it's a good time for the Broncos to probably look to draft a mid-round interior offensive lineman to develop. It is a little unfortunate that we're not going to get that additional third-round comp pick for Vance Joseph, which I'm happy to have him around still. I think, we would have had options if he left elsewhere, and it'd been nice to have the picks, but players love him and the defense has been great. So welcome back, Vance. But yeah, no, the interior offensive line guys, I like those ones. Connor Liu is one who a lot of hype to start the season, had injuries. This is the Auburn cat, if I recall. Yeah. There's a lot of good centers deep. Never just paid a center. Honestly, I'm looking for more of like that. I want an Orlando Franklin body type coming in here who could be like a mauling right tackle or a guard. Like that's kind of the move I'm looking for right now.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think you'd rather have that tackle guard combo than guard center combo. And Lou, I think he's mostly played center, so I'd worry about what he would look like moving him out to guard. And like I said, we just paid our Wattenberg. Hopefully he's fully healed up. And I know his contract is easier to move out of after next year, but still, that's not quite the direction I'm looking to go right now. You've got Forsyth around. He did okay. Wasn't great, but he did okay as a backup option there for the center. And you got him for another season. So I think the Broncos are okay there. But finding a guy, I mean, this is talking about that tackle guard thing. I mean, the guy that had the video come out, having a guy that you can move out to tackle eventually, but start there at guard. I would love to see that.
It certainly would be nice for the Broncos. That's no doubt. And we'll be obviously a lot of time between now and April. It'll get here before you know it, but a lot of time to talk about it, and never too early to start talking trenches. As my cat, please have some sanctity for the stream as you lick things that you shouldn't be licking. Jordan Lewis, evening, fellas. Great to see you. Appreciate you coming in here. Hope you're doing well. We see our guy Dylan in the house. Dylan, good to see you. Hope you're doing. Says fork over the one and get a playmaker. Good to see you. Paul says legalize Stickum. Appreciate it. Greg comes in here. Good evening, Broncos country. Always love you coming in and saying hello. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Tyler Brooks in the house. We love Club Dub. Yeah, we do. We love winning football here, no doubt. And Sean Payton's brought winning football. Shannon says she thinks the Broncos will keep Evan Ingram. Yeah, the signings from last season are going to be hard to move off of, and we'll have a chance to talk about this of stay or go here in a second. Kyle Bishop, I'd love to trade up for Sadiq. Man, we're going to have a lot of offseasons to talk about this, Carl. I like Kenyon Sadiq in theory. I think trading up for a tight end is always risky because there's no such thing as a guarantee in the draft. And right now, I think he might be a little bit more potential than actualization. Like, I worry that you're getting a Vernon Davis type, if you know, or like he's like a heck of an athlete, just not always natural as a receiver. Right? Again, like how to manipulate space. Like he always feels like he doesn't have like a throttle. He's like one of those players, like we talked about with Noah Fant, where like A means run and B means stop. And there's not that like joystick control that you have. Like you saw Tyler Warren, or of course Colson Loveland as well. Like they have a ability to like pace their routes to create separation. Didn't always see that with Sadiq. But man, he's a hell of an athlete, and he's a really underrated blocker too. So like, he'd be a great weapon. Like I would take him, trade up. It's kind of like the talk we had earlier. Like what would it take for 30 overall on our third round pick? Like how high can that get us? 25? I'm not trading up more than that. I'm not giving up a future 1 or 2. I'm not giving up 1 and 2 this year to go up for an unproven tight end when there's only like 6 tight ends that are needle movers in the league at any point. So he'd be great. We'll see.
The more I watch Sadiq, the more, like you said, I view him as great athlete, not so much great football player per se. I mean, he does some good football things.
Underrated
as a blocker.
Physical.
He can make the really, really tough catch, which is something you love to see, where he'll go up and make a catch that you were like, that's part of why everybody fell in love with him there, mid-season, because he was just making these highlight reel catches left and right. But if you go back and watch, okay, how many football moves are you watching this guy make? A lot of his plays are him staying in to help block on a pass play and then just kind of trickling out 2 to 3 yards, catch it, run with the football, out athlete the guy to go get the first down, or run the seam route, which is just pretty much, hey, you're just running as fast as you can up the middle and you're going to outrun the linebacker or get over the top of the safety and then go make a big catch. That's a lot of what his plays were there at the college level. And so, like you said, I could be okay with him in the first. I'm with you. I'm not trading up.
I mean, like a small trade up. Like if you
okay.
identify him and there's like a huge discrepancy between him and the rest of the guys, and you haven't already filled out tight end, like he is a weapon, especially
Yeah.
with like how the Broncos utilize formations and they really are heavy in the short side of the field, and you can use him out wide alone for the chip and release that the Broncos love to do with their tight ends as well on the flat. I mean, don't get me wrong, like he'd be great. But man, I have a hard time giving up multiple cracks of the bat in draft picks.
Right.
When you are talking about a non-premium position, when think who's the 8th best tight end in football right now? Would you give up your 1st and 3rd round pick for the 8th best tight end? Because like that's a good outcome for Sadiq.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like that's tough. Yeah.
Right. And I think I would like him more if we went and got ourselves a true free agent tight end, a Goddard kind of guy that can do more of the traditional tight end work. And then you can have Sadiq in for some specialty kind of plays. Plus, I mean, like you said, he is a good blocker.
Yes.
So you can have him, you can do the 2 tight end looks that the Broncos were not able to do at a great level this year. If you go get a free agent tight end like that you can trust to be the 500 to 700 yard kind of guy that you can leave on the field and trust him to go out there. It just, if you are thinking of him as being your number 1 tight end and being a big time guy for you as a rookie, I think you're going to be a little disappointed. I think he's one of those guys you're going to have to bring along pretty slowly. He's going to be more what you've seen traditionally from tight ends. I think we've gotten a little bit spoiled here lately. We had Brock Bowers go out there and have the season that he had as a rookie. Then Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren this year having the kind of seasons, and we're kind of going, oh, well, look, these rookie tight ends, they can come in and do all these great things. Most tight ends, it takes you 2 to 3 years. And with the Broncos being in a 2 to 3 year great window to go win a Super Bowl, I'm not exactly sure if you want to use your 1st round pick on a guy that you're probably not seeing the fullness of what he can bring until the very end of that ability or that window.
It's definitely tough. We'll see how it plays out, but yeah, good question here. We do have another ad read to get to though, Carl, our friends over at Surfshark.
Yeah, Broncos country, never before has online privacy been more important. That's where Surfshark comes in, and it's a game changer. Surfshark is a virtual private network which covers all your online activity. Using a VPN is like wearing pants. All the important stuff stays private and secure when you walk out your front door. Once your device connects to the internet, all the information is encrypted, which keeps your online activity hidden from all the snoopers and trackers.
Guys, raise your hand if, like me, you've searched for something kind of random, like prices on Broncos jerseys, and the next thing you know, you're getting jersey ads every time you open up one of your social media apps or browsers online. Thankfully, today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN, can help us out with that. A VPN allows me to mask my real IP address so that my online activity is no longer being tracked.
They also offer Surfshark Alert, and it's absolutely indispensable. The only thing scarier than forgetting a password is finding out that a password has been leaked online somewhere. The Surfshark Alert feature can help with this by constantly scanning the web for your personal info. Things like your email address, passwords, even credit card details. It sends you an instant alert if any of them appear in a data breach. It can be a lifesaver.
That's so true. So take control of your online privacy and protect yourself against data breaches by signing up with Surfshark VPN. It comes with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to surfshark.com/milehigh, or just go to surfshark.com and use our code milehigh at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Again, that's surfshark.com/milehigh with our code milehigh. And by the way, the URL and code can also be found in our show's notes below. So shout out to Surfshark. Appreciate them, and we'll keep it rocking and rolling here. Keep it going. We got William coming in and said, I love Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Yeah, 2 Jets here. Not a great team, but some good players still. Oh, sorry. Take the wheels. And we got Greg coming in here again. Says, Nick, Carl, where do we rank as far as cap space goes? I don't have the exact rankings in front of me, Carl, but I will tell you this. The Broncos are going to – the cap is not going to be a limitation for them with how they've set up the contracts. Obviously, everybody's talking about like, oh, look how they've done this season with all the dead money. They've already borrowed from the future because of that dead cap hit from Russell Wilson. So you obviously don't want to do that like too much all the time. At least, I don't know. That makes me a little bit cautious, but the cap just keeps exploding. And like if you $8 million this year, it takes up what, X percentage of the cap. But if you push it out 2 years from now, it's like 80% of X. So like if the cap keeps growing like it does and you push it out, you're actually getting a higher proportion of cap availability to you by year because the cap is growing. So it's just a smaller total proportional hit against the cap. So I think Denver is middle of the pack, but they can move some money around to create a lot more. So because the Broncos have cap space, the cap is much bigger than originally anticipated this offseason. And also you have really wealthy owners. Yeah, it does matter, but like I think the basic is like any player the Broncos want, the cap is not going to be a hurdle for them. They're going to be able to make it happen and get it done.
Right. So Broncos right now technically are 14th in cap space in the NFL. But you look at some of the teams ahead of them, they have notorious owners for not being willing to spend, like Raiders, Chargers, Bengals. You know, I'm trying to think of some other teams here that Cardinals don't always want to spend. So $88 million in the hands of the Chargers owner compared to about $30 million. It's about $29 million really for the Broncos right now, technically. It's probably almost about even, honestly, because of the cash that they're willing to spend. And you already had Greg Pinner come out and say that the Broncos are going to be aggressive, but they're going to be smart about it. But the fact that George Payton, Greg Pinner, Sean Payton have all said, we're going to be aggressive. They all understand the Broncos are in an incredible window right now with Bo Nix on his rookie contract. Russell Wilson, dead cap hits are all gone. Cap keeps going up like it is, where it's exploding more and more each year than what they expect. Like I said, even if you're borrowing on the future, $13 million borrowed right now turns into about like $10 million by the time you actually get to it.
Yeah.
Because of just the inflation that happens with it. So I'm not really too worried about it. I think the Broncos are in a really good position with the cap. They can go get a couple of players. They can maybe re-sign a couple of players we're going to talk about here in just a bit. And this roster really could be better, deeper, stronger than they were the year before.
Yeah. And as dark as it sounds, Broncos could be better next season and not go as far in the playoffs or not win the division. Just might get a little bit of bounce back in the one-score games. But you could still be a better team overall. And honestly, I fully expect them to be better next season, even if they don't have the equal record. But we'll see. Chase Wellner asks, are there any big nose tackles in the class? Man, you guys, we got to get to the Broncos free agents here. No, there's a lot of good nose tackles in this class. Caden McDonald from Ohio State is freaking awesome. Lee Hunter is somebody also who can do that. Of course, Christian Miller can play some nose. You got Dominique Orange from Iowa State. Darrell Jackson Jr. is freaky. I mean, he's like one of the most like first off the bus guys I've ever seen in my life for his size. He doesn't look like he has any body fat on him. He's like 330 pounds. He's got like 98th percentile length. Like wish he had a little bit more juice. But man, he is powerful. So there's a lot of good interior defensive linemen. It's a really good 0 to 2-eye technique if you want to be really technical about it in this class.
Yeah, this is where there's some positions. Linebacker, thankfully, Broncos need a linebacker. This is a pretty good linebacker class. There's some safety depth. You probably need a safety if we're going to lose Locke. I think you could go get yourself a guy for that as well. Nose tackle, I do think that would be great for the Broncos. Go get yourself a 330-pound guy that can man the middle. You're talking about playoffs. If we play the Bills again, you need some more size on that defensive line. You need some guys that can match up across the line and say, you know what? Yeah, you're 330 pounds. I'm 330 pounds. We're two very grown men ready to go at this, and the Broncos be able to hold their spot and not give up 7-8 yards a carry. You need something like that. The Broncos don't have it right now. So I would fully expect the Broncos to be looking pretty heavy at those nose tackles.
Yeah. We'll see. A lot's going to come down. The first guy we're going to talk about here, Carl, John Franklin Myers, Broncos free agent. We're looking at Spot Rack right now for the available free agents, and your most expensive predicted one is John Franklin Myers. Should he stay or should he go? He should stay. He's going to go. Broncos have seen, I feel like he's the caliber of prospect or player, not prospect, that the Broncos, if they are this quality, they sign him before they even get close to hitting the market. And because of that, I'm expecting him to be gone. It's a bummer because he is really talented. Now, why would you let him walk? You have two young players who maybe in the aggregate you can replace him in Owazarike as well as Savion Jones, who's promising athlete, just needs to work on his run defense and anchoring, taking on double teams and everything like that. But John Franklin Myers is probably going to get, I don't know, the Spot Rack has him coming up at $7 million a year. I'm guessing he's going to get, I think he'll get 10 to 12 million a year, especially with the exploded cap, much higher than anybody anticipated. Means those free agent contracts are going to be all the bigger. But yeah, I would love to keep him. I do think he's gone. And I don't think, if I was in charge, I don't know if I'd let him get to this point, but is what it is.
He's a very talented player for sure. The problem is you start trying to figure out your cap situation. Who can you keep? Where can you sacrifice? And like I said, you just drafted a guy to be his replacement. At some point, you got to start trusting that your draft picks are going to be able to step in and take over for some of these guys. And, kind of like Barron. What are you going to do with him next year? He's a first-round pick. I don't think you can have him be just this rotational guy next year.
I don't even care about that. The pick is the pick at this point, and the best players play. It's kind of like if I bring in a 5-star recruit and a walk-on beats you out. Tough shit. I'm sorry, I know I'm not supposed to cuss on here, but like best players play. And if that walk-on ends up being like a first-round pick down the line and the 5-star is like a third-rounder, you played the best player. Like it just you and everybody else misevaluated to start, but talent is the talent. You spent what you spent. One thing also with Barron, and just talking about the free agents in general, we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but J-Mac is going to be back. I would be shocked unless they trade him, but like the RFA put a second-round tender on him. If somebody wants to pay him and give up a second-round pick for him, God bless, Godspeed. We got another cornerback in here. That's great. But you have two of your top 3 cornerbacks hitting free agency a year from now, and you have 3 years more of control than with Barron at that point. So you built in insurance and a plan, a succession plan in place for Barron already. Now, it's not the best ROI for a first-round pick. I'm with you there, Carl. It's a premium position, though. You built in a little bit of support, and the chance that you go through the whole season again with all 3 of your top cornerbacks being healthy is not high.
Right.
You were able to survive some of those games without PS2 because you had depth at cornerback. So I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I just wanted to push back a little bit.
And I get that. You're right. Best players should play. But I just think if you really view Barron as a starter, you're going to have to figure out a way, how do we get him on the field? I'm not saying that means you get rid of McMillan, but if a team does come and say, okay, we are wanting to give a second-round pick, and then you really like Barron, you're going, thanks. That helps us solve a little bit of our problem here. And we get a second-round pick to add more talent to this roster and figure out what else we want to do. So we'll just have to see how that all plays out this offseason. But no, I hope McMillan's back. He took another step this last year.
Yeah.
The year before, he started out the season very, very solid. But probably from about week 9 on, other than a couple big plays, the interception against Cleveland, return for a touchdown, there was a lot more miss than hits. There were times where he was caught out of position. And this year, he just was solid through the entire year. I really loved what he brought to the table. So I'm hoping he sticks around because I do think he is a big part of this defense and what allows them to be able to do what they do. And so other free agents we got going on. Yeah, Singleton. We got Singleton and Sternad.
Yep, both of them.
Now, Sternad has said he wants to sign with a team that believes that he can be a starter. This is where I'm torn because I really do want to use a draft pick on a linebacker.
Good class for that.
It is. And I'm just not sure. not that if you kept Singleton around, that it wouldn't be a problem. But to me, like Singleton's a 1-year rental. So you could draft a guy in the mid-round picks, have him get trained up there by Singleton and Greenlaw, and then be ready to start the next year. Or Sternad, you're probably looking at more of a 2 to 3 year contract, and he's not going to like the idea that he's not the starter. Now, maybe you're moving on from Greenlaw at that point then. I don't know. I just think Sternad's probably going to be priced out of Denver, where they're not going to have the same view as him as he views himself.
One of the two, I think, will be back. If not, you can go to the free agency market. I know there's been a lot of push for Devin Lloyd as of late. I don't know if, what is he looking for? Like 25, 30, no, something ridiculous for a linebacker. I don't know if I'm looking to spend that. I'll keep banging the table for Caden Ellis as well, pairing him up with his brother. And he is such a good weapon as a pass rusher. And I'm not sure what the Falcons will be doing with him this season. The Falcons have money to spend, but they also are going to be maybe looking to turn over some of the pieces of the defense, and they have to pay Kyle Pitts, potentially Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. So do they want to be paying, $15 million a year to a linebacker? I don't know. We'll see. But Broncos need to sign back a linebacker. Shiloh has a good point. Would Singleton have suitors outside of Denver? He's been productive, but I can't see him having a ton of offers on the open market. Well, he did have Jim Leonard head off to Buffalo. So I'm guessing that, implementing the system, he's been there for a bit. He might be somebody that makes some sense. Maybe Leo Chanel, though, given Leonard probably recruited him to Wisconsin back in the day. That's another one to keep an eye on for Denver. But yeah, I personally, just from what I watched this season, I think I like Sternad slightly more than Singleton. If I have to bring back one of them, which one can I get back on the cheapest? It's like we don't need to be cheap necessarily, but it's nice to have some spots where you save, $2 million here or there, where you can put $2 million more on a tight end, maybe to bring in David Goddard or Njoku or something. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd probably take the cheaper one, which I'm guessing will be Singleton, and I don't mind him for another year. Yeah. I know people want more athleticism, want more playmaking. But he's a good leader, great locker room guy. And if you do go draft a guy and give him a year to learn from Singleton, there's nobody better to learn from. Smart guy, leader, will show him the ropes of what it really means to be in the NFL. I just think it's almost like a DeMarcus Ware. Well, DeMarcus Ware is Hall of Fame, but just he's not going to be upset having to teach his replacement.
Yeah.
And that where Sternad's not going to want to help his replacement.
I think he sounds like he's a good guy. I think he probably would still help him somewhat. And he'd also probably he wouldn't sign a 1-year deal. So he might be training somebody behind him, but he might be training them. Like you signed Sternad, you're probably, if you're drafting a guy, you're probably thinking about them as the Greenlaw replacement.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is very true. I love Sternad. I'm with you. I think he's a more talented player than Singleton at this point. He's younger. So I'm trying to remember how old is he? I guess he's 30.
He's not young. Yeah, he's been around. Might be the longest tenured Bronco.
Bulls.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. Yep.
And Sutton would maybe be longer.
Maybe. I think Stroud might have been in the same class.
Yeah, I can't remember, but anyway, let's get to some more of the controversial ones.
We got to talk J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Because there are so many good running backs in free agency this year, I'm probably looking for somebody that I can trust to stay healthy. That could last the entire 17 games. Now, I mean, there's no guarantee. Everybody has their chances of getting hurt, but with Dobbins, he hasn't had a single healthy season. So you're pretty much guaranteeing if you re-sign him, he's going to miss at least a few games. Mm-hmm. And he's a great player when healthy. I mean, I for a while there, I'm going, this might be my favorite free agency signing. And then he gets hurt. And it destroyed our run game the second he went down. Yeah. So if you do bring him back, you better have a better backup plan than Harvey. I like Harvey, but he has a specific role, and it's not lead back.
No. Yeah. Could we get Dobbins back for the same contract as last. You talk about pinching $2 million and just give that to Dobbins, and you still maybe sign somebody else. Does he want to come back at that point? I think probably, just given his injury history and everything that's happened with him, I would imagine the cycle is a little bit similar to last season, where he is third, second wave of free agency. And at that point, maybe you've lost out on Hall or Walker or somebody out there. Maybe these guys don't even hit the market. Who knows? Algier. And then maybe you come back to that and then look to draft somebody day 2 to pair with him as well, a big body back. But right now, I'm probably more walk and use that $2.5 million to pay an RB1. I'm not paying a big contract as far as years go, but like a 3-year deal that's essentially a 2-year deal. Yeah. Or a 4-year deal that's essentially a 2, maybe 3-year deal. Yeah, for sure. I think that's probably what you do. And he was awesome. If this was a really deep, talented draft where you're going to have options no matter what, I'm for it. I don't think it's that after Love. I don't think it's that great of a running back class on the whole. So it makes it a little bit harder because then you're talking about paying 2 guys. Do you want to do that? I don't know. But it's probably it's not the, how do I put it? It's the most important position for this Broncos team, I think, going this season, but it's also the one that's one of the easier ones to fill for the Broncos. Like big picture offensive weapon, like flagpole, tent pole for the team building. A big picture, like a big number 1 pass weapon. Big picture, that's the number 1 need. But like for next season, it needs to be a running back, I think.
Yeah.
Some people might argue, though, Carl, the wide tight end. That brings us to Adam Troutman. Sean Payton loves him, even though he did dig at him. Sean Payton doesn't, as we talked about him earlier, doesn't tease you or come at you unless he likes you, and he gave Troutman a hard time. It would be unbelievably disappointing if Troutman was back without it being in tandem with a more substantial wide tight end. Now, he does fill a role. He can block, like he's not, totally getting whipped out there, but it would be great to bring in somebody who's an actual Y who can change the math a little bit with blocking, because I just did not feel that was the case enough for the season with Troutman.
I mean, if we want to talk about improving the run game, I would say finding a consistent run blocking tight end that you can trust to hold up would be pretty big, because there's a lot of run plays that were blown up because whoever was playing tight end, Ingram, Troutman, even Lewis had some times of not looking great run blocking. And it was frustrating where you'd see everything else blocked up and then boom, here comes a guy cutting across, making the play. And maybe some of that's a little bit scheme. I don't know if Sean Payton was depending on them to get kind of that cross-face block where they're having to get clear around on a defensive end, and against good defensive ends, that's going to be really tough for any tight end to do. I do think that played into it a little bit for sure. So I think there's some play calling things that they could change that would help the tight ends more. But at the same time, like I said, we've got to improve that position. You can't go into this next year going, hey, Troutman, you're our number 1 tight end. You're the guy that we're going to have on the field for, I'm trying to remember, I think he was probably, about 60% of the snaps?
Probably.
That's not good.
No. Yep, and Ingram's too limited because he can't live in line. So, yeah, it would be great to bring in a tight end. We got Shiloh coming in as Texas Tech. Rodriguez going round 1 as a future linebacker. All it takes is one team. If you have odds for me, if you give me, I would probably bet against it right now. I think it's, honestly, I think you're probably talking round 3 at the earliest, but that's still a rather, like, not totally premium, but like a big selection for a linebacker. So I think he's probably day 2 right now. A little smaller. He's really good in coverage, not necessarily explosive. And like the linebacker drills, like it's nice to see them at the Senior Bowl. Doesn't necessarily translate to the NFL game all the time, because like their first responsibility is physicality coming downhill and taking on those guys.
He's got some instincts about him.
Yeah.
Which that can translate well to the NFL game. And so I do like that part of it for him. But like I said, there's going to be some limitations to his game compared to, I mean, we talked about him earlier, Sonny Styles. You're talking about a guy that's big, strong, fast, aggressive, and plays well. Like he locates the ball well on the field and is a playmaker. There's a very big difference between these two kind of guys. Now, they both can work in the NFL. There's just one that you see more as, hey, this guy will probably be an all-star for the next 5-7 years at least, compared to the other one where it's kind of like I hate to insult your guy, Josie Jewell.
No, that's kind of what you're talking about there. I think he's a slightly bigger player because Josie had T-Rex arms a little bit, but
Yeah.
He's getting every ounce of his physical ability because his linebacker a lot of times is a neck up position.
For sure.
Yeah.
And so there's a big place for those kind of guys. And in the right system, you can really take advantage of him, and he can go make you a few plays a year. And he's not going to be at the wrong place at the wrong time where you're sitting there going, crap, what happened here? And so that's where you love those kind of guys. You need them on your team, but they're also probably the players at times you're looking at, hey, can we upgrade? If not, okay, we'll keep them. Josie Jewell stuck around until the concussions took over. There's always going to be roster spots for them, but at the same time, like I said, you're more looking for the Sonny Styles kinds if you can ever find them.
Yeah. We do have some more guys to get into, Carl, but we're wrapping up here. Got to move it pretty quickly. But yeah, we want to get into it. Let's pull this one down. PJ Locke, probably gone. The one dark horse here for that is he's tough because the Broncos can save some moving on from Brandon Jones. Coming off the injury, Locke as well. If you think you can save some money and like Locke coming in here, that'd be great. He's another one with the Bills being so old at safety. Maybe they bring him in to kind of implement some of the Jim Leonard stuff that he wants to do. But I would rather keep Jones and let Locke walk. But there's always, if you can get 90% of the player for 70% of the price, it's a lot of times good math for your team. So something to consider. I would say no right now, though.
Right. I'm with you. I like Brandon Jones. I think he's obviously the better player. PJ Locke, part of the reason that you went and got Hufanga is because there were some limitations to Locke's game and how teams were able to take advantage of that. So moving on from PJ Locke, but let's see, a couple other names here.
I did want to get into some, yeah. I think there's a bunch that are probably like easy gones. Maybe you're talking, you do have 90 men on your roster come camp. So some of them are like that you're bringing in to like run things and then practice squad and let leave. But you're talking about Michael Burton gone this season, but a good fullback and a special teams player. Maybe you have him versus Prentice battle. Everybody's going to get, a little bit ugly about this one, but little Jordan Humphrey, do I want him on the active 53? No. Useful player, but that's kind of an indictment of your roster. Do I want him on the 90? Sure. Fine. Vet min 90? Sign me up. That's great. Yeah. He can help, whatever. So that's one. At least that's where I'm at. It gets kind of a little spicier with the restricted free agents here. I'll just give my quick thoughts here. We already talked about Jaquan McMillan, Carl. I put a second-round tender on him. Lucas Kroll, original round tender, undrafted free agent. If somebody signs him, God bless. If not, we got him on a contract. Matt Henningsen, same thing. Got to fill out a 90. So original round tender. That's a 7th-round pick. It's not going to cost a lot. Then you talk about Jaleel McLaughlin, probably an original round tender. Maybe that means he's out the door. I'm not sure. The two who are tough, Carl, here are Alex Palczewski and Nate Atkins. Useful players, undrafted free agents. Because of that, if you put the original round tender on them, a team can sign them for nothing. You don't get anything back. So right now, I'm probably original round tender. And then if somebody comes out, it's kind of the Phillip Lindsay situation. If you guys recall a few years ago, was it with Miami? I don't remember. Maybe Denver even rescinded the tender then, but they put the original on tender and then he was allowed to leave. Maybe it was Houston. I don't remember what team it was exactly, Carl, but Palczewski and Atkins, I'm not quite sure what to do yet.
Palczewski, because he's been here in this system and offensive linemen are tough to find and he's got a little bit of starting experience, he can move around, right tackle. He played left guard. You could probably put him at right guard if you absolutely needed him to. I would probably worry a lot more about losing him. Nate Atkins, I'm not too worried about it unless there's like a a team that loses a lot of players to injury at the position, you probably can get him back on the original round tender and be fine. You know, he was banged up this last year. It's not like he came in and lit the league on fire by any means. So I think you can get away with that one. But offensive line, every team is looking for offensive linemen that have starting experience, held up okay when they were asked to go in there.
Versatility.
And that versatility. So I would probably worry a little bit more about losing him.
And the projected, we don't have the exact numbers yet, but over the cap has the second round tender at $5.8 million, and the right of first refusal, so the original round, is only $3.5 million. So the right of first refusal, they sign a contract, they bring it back to you, and you can either match it or let it walk. And we'll see. Those two are really tough for me. Right now, I lean into original round tender, but there's a $2.3 million difference between those, so that makes it a little tough. You have an unrestricted free agent Sam Ehlinger way here at the bottom. Take him or leave him for me. No offense, Sam. And then your exclusive right free agents back. Easy, no question. Devin Key, all pro. Devin Key. Jordan Jackson, DeAndre Tillman, and Tyler Bidet. Easy, bring them back. ERFAs. Even if they don't make the roster, you still need to have 90 for spring and summer. So that's those are easy ones for me. But some tough decisions here, and we kind of talked about already, Carl, but you have some choices to make with Ben Powers and as well as Brandon Jones, who we talked about also. So really got into it here. Linebacker is fascinating to me to see what Denver does. I think they could do clean slate. They already have a lot of money into Greenlaw relatively. So we'll see what happens with that linebacker spot. And yeah, bummer to probably lose John Franklin Myers, but kind of just is what it is at this point.
It is. And I'm also interested to see what they do with Evan Ingram when we get down to it. Doesn't sound like he wants to be back in Denver. Not sure that Denver wants him back either. And we'll just have to see what happens. But appreciate everyone coming in tonight and being a part of the chat here and getting into this conversation. And, it's bittersweet. I wish we were talking about this another week later where we start actually getting into this, but it is what it is. Broncos had a great season. Now they got a chance to really build on it even more.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone coming in here today. Got a lot of super chats. Papa Bear, Shannon Mills, big time one. George Fox, Phil McLaughlin, of course. Greg, good to see you. Chase Wellner in the house. Shiloh as well, coming in here with the linebacker love. Good linebacker class. It'll be a lot of fun. Really good up the spine. Not a lot of superstars in this class, but if you're looking for good rookie contract players at defensive unfortunately not a lot of good 5 technique types, but nose tackle, edge, linebacker, safety, even cornerback, I think is solid. Just not a good offensive line class, especially at tackle. Not a good quarterback class. And I think not a good running back class after Love. And I'd say average at wide receiver and tight end. Maybe below average for tight end. I don't know. There's a lot of guys round 3 and 4, but does Denver need another tight end 2 or 3 type? I don't know. They need a needle mover. So we'll see. Any final thoughts, Carl?
No, it was fun discussion, guys. And we'll be talking more and more about these guys as we get closer. And we got Combine coming up. We've got, obviously, free agency will be kicking off here in a little over a month. So it's going to be a busy time here for Mile High Huddle.
Yeah, absolutely. So appreciate everyone coming in here. Make sure you're following Carl and I on Twitter. Carl is at Carl Dumler, MHH. I'm at Nick Kendell, MHH. Also follow us at Mile High Huddle. We're over at Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and Facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. And as that ticker says there underneath, please subscribe, like, and share. Shout out to all of our sponsors today. Make sure you're checking them out. And Carl and I will see you again next week. You guys won't see me again on Friday, though. It's my birthday. So I'm going to take it off. And my parents are going to be in town. So actually going to go out and do something because I got a little support here in town. So that'll be great. So appreciate everyone. Have a great rest of your night. Let's go Seahawks, I guess. I love Seattle, the city. So we'll talk later, guys. Go Broncos.